Here on the Trading Coach Podcast, we talk a lot about accelerating your wealth, not just through trading, but by finding other forms of supplemental income as well. Well, an easy way to do that is by sharing your story by using Spotify for podcasting. Not only do they allow you to record and edit right from your phone or computer, but they'll also shoot it out everywhere that podcasts are heard and even pay you to do it, which still doesn't make sense, but hey, we'll take it, right? Video podcasts are also available as well, which is a really cool option if you're into sharing your charts and stuff like that. Best of all, it's free. So as someone who measures risk reward for a living, this is a no-brainer. So if you're ready to create, don't wait. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app right now, or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. Speaking of getting started, let's get started with the show. So I want you to ask yourself this question, and please be honest. Are you secretly scared of success? I know it sounds dumb because success is something that we're all shooting for, but deep down, a lot of us are actually afraid to be successful, and that's one of the main reasons that we sabotage our journey. So if you're someone that's unsure, make sure you listen to this podcast. Maybe it'll give some insights to if you are. And if you are, in today's episode, we're going to give you guys some tips on how you can overcome that obstacle and really start cashing out on all of the work that you've put in. I was talking to Kevin this morning, who was bringing me an idea about a gap fill strategy. And I'm like, Kevin, focus. You're supposed to be focused on your strategy, but every day it's a brand new strategy he brings, and it's one of those, it's a habit that a lot of us traders get into. System hopping, shiny thing syndrome. I know I have really bad shiny thing syndrome. Some of it is also this, and I don't think this is necessarily Kev's case, but I've seen this in the past with traders where some people are just afraid of success. It sounds weird, I know, but some people are afraid of success, so they will create tasks that prevents them from achieving success. So like, let's say, Bobby is testing something and he's getting close to the end. He's finishing the back testing, the numbers looking good, and it starts to get real. Bobby's like, oh my gosh, this is something that I can actually trade and go live with, and then I gotta do the trading thing. For an example, someone that is a little bit scared of success and will sabotage their own success, what Bobby will start doing is one of two things. Either he'll start saying, well, it's not good enough, so I need to go back and test more data, or I need to go back and add this or add that or test more pairs before I can really trade. I got like 5 pairs that 5 pairs that work right now, but I really want to get 10. Or maybe Bobby will say, go to a different strategy or whatever like that. And I've seen this happen time and time again. It's weird to me personally, but I understand it just from my knowledge about psychology. And the reason that people are afraid of success or sabotage their path to success is because success comes with pressure, right? Is there any pressure in backtesting? Is there any pressure in strategy development? Is there any pressure in demo trading? There's no real pressure until you actually get in the real game. And if you're someone that doesn't react well to pressure, you want to avoid pressure. So you never want to be in the real game. I grew up with athletes like this who were really, really good, like playing basketball in the street courts, but never once dared try out for a team. And I'm like, why? Why? Like, come out for the team. You're really good. It was a different game. Bobby said it's also identity change. Yeah. So that's something that, again, I don't know how to diagnose if someone is dealing with this, or if someone just has shiny thing syndrome, or it's a little bit of both. But that is also something to be aware of. You have so many people that we often talk about, people rushing towards success. But on the other hand, you have people that run from it. And again, the best example I can give is I worked with a trader who, she back tested something for 4 years, guys. 4 years. And she hid under the kind of umbrella that, oh, I'm just a perfectionist. I got to get it absolutely perfect before I can trade it. And that's a good excuse, a perfect excuse in trading, because guess what? In trading, nothing will ever be perfect. Nothing will ever be good enough. At some point, you just have to accept the pros and the cons and trade it. But I think part of her identity was, I'm a grinder. I like the journey. I like the grittiness of going through numbers and doing the dirty work, but not necessarily I guess trading live is gritty as well, because it's not really a glorious, it's not really a glorious thing once you start trading live. For anyone that's traded live, you know what I mean. It's not, it seems like it's glorious. It's actually a grind in its own right of win, loss, loss, win, win, loss, win, win, loss, right? Back and forth like that. But I think part of her personality, her identity, like you said, Bobby, was, I'm an underdog. I'm an underdog scrapping my way to the top. But how do I handle things once I'm at the top? And it's interesting. We had our track and field team was very similar, right? I've been coaching track for the same amount of time I've been trading for. So 15, 16 years, right? And we were a small team that we haven't won a championship in 25 years. We're a small team, and and this comes from my personality, our whole identity was, we're a tiny team, we're the underdogs, we're disrespected, we're not supposed to do anything because you have these big dogs that are out there, and we want to earn our respect, so we're going to do things the gritty, grimy, dirty way. We're just going to outwork you. And that was our mentality going in. And then we finally, 2 years ago, we finally won a conference championship. And things started to change. Now, luckily, I'm really good at self-motivation. But things started to change because, well, now we won a championship. We've got trophies. We got rings. We're the best of the best. How does that play into that identity of, we're the underdog, we have something to prove, and we just proved it? And that's why you see, and they call it like championship hangover. A lot of teams that win like the championship for the first time, it took everything in them to get to that point, but then they don't know how to find the motivation for that new identity once they win, and they go backwards. And it's like, well, how do I motivate myself now? Now, again, luckily for us in our situation, I'm very good at motivation. So there were some rumors out there that, oh, we just got lucky. Oh, so boy, did I use that. Like, hey, guys, we weren't supposed to win. This wasn't our championship. We just got lucky. We didn't win it. Other teams lost it, and that helped us keep that mentality. But that's difficult in trading. I dealt with that when going from a struggling trader to a consistently profitable trader. It was easy when I was struggling because I was so motivated to be profitable. Then once I was profitable, it was hard for me to accept like being good, because I didn't want to accept like being good. And I told you guys a story about how I didn't admit that I was a good trader until I was profitable for like 2-3 years. Because I was afraid that if I admitted that I was good, I would lose kind of my edge, lose my spark. I would get comfortable, right? Because back in the day, whenever I thought I was good, I'd get lazy and make trading mistakes, and then I'd lose money. So I was super afraid of that. But ultimately, if we want to achieve our goal, we have to get to that situation. You can't be a good trader without eventually becoming good, right? So we have to get to that point, and we have to ask ourselves, we have to ask our family, our friends, our peers, our coaches, our mentors, hey, how do you deal with that, right? The first thing I'll get to your thing in a little bit, Bobby. The first thing I asked one of my mentors in trading, I just did a podcast about this where I was reliving some memories of being out in Kansas and watching the Tour de France and being around successful people, and it was really cool. And one of the first things I asked him, I had a dinner date with Todd Brown, or a lunch date, I guess. This was the story where we went into the restaurant. I think it was a playoff game between two NBA teams, and we went to this restaurant, and two funny things happened in this restaurant. One, this is how I knew Todd had it, and that he enjoyed food. One, Todd was so excited to show me about Kansas City barbecue. because I come from the East. We don't have barbecue in the East. I got cheesesteaks in Philly. That's about it. So he was so excited to show me about some Kansas barbecue that when we got into the restaurant, he's like, you got to try this. Oh, but you got to try that. You got to try that. That he just ordered almost everything on the appetizer menu, just so I can sample different. Complete waste of food. Just so I can sample different things. That was the one funny story. He's like, just, you gotta, ma'am, just give us all of it in this column. And I'm like, what? He's like, you just gotta try it all, man. Like, imagine this, not big like fat, but Todd's a bigger dude, like athletic looking. He's a former tight end, I believe, but like just happy go lucky, kind of like nice dude. So imagine that. We just give us the whole column. We got to try it all. This guy's from out of town. We got to show him how we do it here in Kansas. I'm like, okay. But one story. The second story is we wanted to watch the game. This is another boss move. Wanted to watch the game, but we were at a TV or a table that wasn't facing the TV, and there wasn't any more TVs there. So he walked over to this. It was a group of young ladies. About 4 of them. And so first of all, like, no way would I ever by myself, especially at the time, approach a group of 4 lovely looking ladies at a table by themselves. I am too shy for that. He gets up. He said, "Oh, you want to watch the game?" Because he sees me like cranking my neck around. "You want to watch the game?" He approaches this group of young ladies, bends over to the table. He starts, whispering. I just see the hand motions going, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what's happening here? Like, I've seen all these trading movies. I've got a girlfriend, Todd. I don't know what's happening here. Come on, I don't want this. And then they proceed to get up. And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, well, I told him I'd pay for their meal if they just kindly switch tables with us, just so we could watch the game. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But the first thing I asked Todd, right, was, how can I do what you're doing? Yeah, that's a baller move. That is a baller move, man. You must have gave him some trading tips or something. But first thing I asked him, I said, how do you deal with success? Because my whole mentality is I'm always motivated by being the underdog, the one that no one cared about, the one that no one, thought was going to be successful, because that's been my life since a little kid, just even coming from where I'm from. Like, I wasn't supposed to go to college or any of this stuff. So I'm used to that. I said, I don't know how to handle being successful. And I'm supposed to be teaching. I don't know how to do this. And he gave me some tips. So it's definitely a change. And it seems simple and dumb until you actually get to that point. Going back to Bobby's questions from a few minutes ago, Bobby said, for sure, it helps to have another goal lined up so you constantly have something to strive for. And I think that's it, Bobby. I think the carrot in front of the face is what does it. Because I think the fear or the mistakes come from settling. It comes from, I've worked so hard to achieve this thing. Now I've got this thing. Now I can settle. So you always have to have a what's next. What is the next goal? All right. I didn't lose money this year. Boom. Okay. Next year's goal. I'm going to be profitable. And again, in my mind, a goal that I always love is process-based goals, because we always preach process over outcome. Don't get me wrong. I do have return on investment goals. We don't talk about them because we're supposed to be process over outcome. But at the end of the day, we are in trading to make money. So we do have return on investment goals. But like a process-based goal is make no bad trades, or add a new strategy, or work on active trade management. Go for a home run trade, add a new pair, add a new market, develop. I did a podcast the other day with a guy who just started a podcast, and that was one of his goals. He said, okay, after I became a consistently profitable trader, now I want to branch out into the business side of things. I want to start doing a podcast. So he said, I'm sticking to it because that's my goal. Start a podcast, manage money, prop firm challenge. Start a prop firm. We worked with traders here at Tier 1 who started a hedge fund before. Crazy, right? you always have to have another goal. And this is advice that's not just for trading, but for life. I can tell you what, and this is a real story, and I hate to be morbid, but it's like the day that you stop having a purpose, is the day that your body and your mind will give up. We've seen this with so many. You see this in sports a lot, where unfortunately you have these older coaches who are driven by this purpose of coaching, this desire to get better. They're highly motivated by different reasons. And then as soon as that's taken away from them, if they don't have anything else to fill that gap, the body and the mind stops trying. And sometimes holding on is just having that purpose. Just having that purpose, that meaning is what allows you to hold on in life. I remember hearing that about Joe Paterno from Penn State, the local kind of big football club around here, where as soon as he had to get fired for, there was some stuff that went on under his watch. And as soon as he was fired, I think he died like a week later. And his wife was like, he loved football. He loved the kids. He loved the school. Like he woke up every day excited, motivated to achieve this next thing. And then as soon as that goal, unfortunately, was taken away from him, the ability to achieve that goal, and his was kind of unplanned. Like he didn't plan on retiring. It happened. So he probably didn't have time to think of, what do I do? He probably never intended on doing anything other than football. So he didn't have the time to think about what's the next goal. So I'm pretty sure he got home and he's like, what do I do now? And that extra drive, that extra fire that was in him, that got him up every day, probably started to burn out. And unfortunately, we all get to that point sometime. So you gotta have something to shoot for. That's key. Something we mentioned in today's podcast that is key to success is surrounding yourself with a great community. People that are going to inspire you, people that are going to motivate you, people that are going to push you to achieve that next great thing, as well as people that are going to pick you up when you're down. If you're looking for a trading community that does just that, look no further than www.tier1trading.com. I recommend getting started by checking out the 14-day risk-free trial membership. Not only does it allow you to take our training and join some live sessions, but it allows you to connect with the community, ask questions, and really figure out if this is the best fit for you before making any type of commitment. So join today, www.tier1trading.com.